Consider what you're about to do, Paul Atreides.
Because of the struggles of both Marvel and DC at the box office, studios have been more interested in developing other franchises that might feel a little fresher to audiences. Warner Brothers might have hit a big one with the Dune franchise, and this week we will get part 2 of this saga. I wouldn't be surprised if you had forgotten about exactly where we were in this story. After all, Dune Part 1 was released back in 2021, and everything after 2020 feels like a lifetime ago.
It's been so long.
But don't worry, I got you covered.
So long.
Today, we will be giving the backstory and a recap of everything you need to know before you watch Dune, Part 2. Let's dive in. The Dune book series is often considered one of the best sci-fi book series of all time. You can clearly see the influence of these books in other franchises, like the Star Wars movies, Blade Runner, Mad Max, Marvel and DC movies, and most recently in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. And although the book series is regarded so highly, many fans felt that the series was unfilmable. But in the 80s, David Lynch took a stab at it, and his movie included Hollywood stars like Patrick Stewart, Kyle MacLachlan, and even the singer Sting. And although the movie has cult status, critics will always point to the terrible makeup, questionable effects, overuse of monologues, and severe plot holes that make this movie less than a satisfying adaptation. So it makes sense why we were all so intrigued when Blade Runner 2049 director Denis Villeneuve was confirmed to direct this reboot. Villeneuve had stated years before that adapting Dune was on his bucket list, and the man got his wish. The star power in this cast is almost overwhelming, and no doubt you will notice so many familiar faces from other universes. Rising Hollywood star Timothée Chalamet was cast as Paul Atreides. Oscar Isaac crossed over from the world of Star Wars and seamlessly into this world as Duke Leto Atreides. Jason Momoa swam his way from the DC world and into the character of Duncan Idaho. Zendaya swam from the MCU into her character Chani. Josh Brolin Thanos snapped himself into being Gurney Halleck, and Dave Bautista got to show his range as Glossu Raban, also known as the Beast. Other notable actors in this franchise include Christopher Walken, Stellan Skarsgård, Florence Pugh, Rebecca Ferguson, and many more. I would literally be here forever if I named all the great talents that are in this movie. A literal embarrassment of riches. On top of all that, he was able to recruit the great Hans Zimmer to be the main composer. Literally, it's almost impossible to make anything not epic when you have this great man's orchestra booming in every scene presented to you.
But imagine you did it all out of those instruments. What would that sound like?
Amazing.
The story of Dune can be a bit confusing, so I'm happy to lay it down a bit to make sure none of us miss anything. Dune is set roughly 20,000 years from now in the year 10,191. In this future, humans have colonized planets all over the universe. Duke Atreides, ruler of the planet Caladan, is chosen to be the next holder of Arrakis by Emperor Shaddam IV. This is a sandy desert planet and sole source of the element called spice. Spice is a drug that can improve life and bestow heightened vitality and awareness. Spice can also be used for faster space travel and more access to the galaxy. Emperor Shaddam plots for House Harkonnen to retake Arrakis, and to do that he would have to destroy House Atreides. The Lady Jessica, a concubine of Duke Atreides, is part of a sisterhood whose members possess special physical and mental abilities. As tradition in her sect, she was instructed to bear a daughter, however she chose to have a son, Paul Atreides. She helps train Paul to use the voice.
If you want it, make me give it to you. Use the voice.
The voice, according to Dune Wiki, was an auto-neural control mechanism that enabled the manipulation of speech to achieve complete control over a receiver.
Give me water.
Duke's War Master Gurney Halleck trains Paul in martial arts and knife fighting. Paul begins to have troubling visions about his people's demise. Some people who hear that are troubled, but it's mostly just blown off as just dreams.
I saw you lying dead, fallen in battle.
House Atreides visits Arrakis, a fortress stronghold in Arrakis. They meet with the expert of spice harvesting Imperial Judge of the Change, Dr. Kynes. While they are there, they do rescue a stranded spice harvesting group from a sandstorm. They also learn about the dangerous giant worms that apparently eat people whole. Pretty scary. Back at Caladan, the House of Atreides is betrayed by Dr. Wellington. The Baron captured and began torturing his wife, Wanna. The Duke then promises him that if he betrays House Atreides, he will return his wife.
Why? I had no choice. The Harkonnens have my wife, Wanna.
The Doctor, while capturing Leto, does replace one of Leto's teeth with a poison gas capsule with which the Duke can assassinate the Baron. After the Baron double-crosses and murders the Doctor, Leto releases the gas, killing himself and the Baron's soldiers. But the Baron somehow survives. The Baron had arranged to have Paul and Jessica drop deep in the desert to die. However, the Dr. Wellington had left them with a kit of survival supplies. Jessica uses the voice to overpower and kill their captors. Kill him! Paul and Jessica journey overnight in the desert where Paul, surrounded by spice, has visions of a bloody holy war fought across the universe in his name. The Baron commands his nephew Rabin to take control of Arrakis and restarts the making of spice. The Lady Jessica and Paul are found by Duncan and Kynes. They are unfortunately found by the soldiers of the Baron, and Duncan sacrifices himself to enable Paul and Jessica to escape. Kynes is also mortally wounded, but does lure a sandstorm to devour her and some of the soldiers. In the deep desert, Paul and Jessica encounters Stilgar's tribe, including Shanae, the girl in Paul's visions. Fremen warrior Jamis opposes Stilgar's lenience to them and challenges Paul to a ritual duel to the death, which Paul somehow wins. The movie ends with Paul joining the Fremen to fulfill his father's goal of bringing peace to Arrakis.
You're one of us now. A life for a life.
And that brings us up to date. There are already a few trailers out there that give us an idea of where Dune Part 2 might lead. The general synopsis of the film is as follows. Paul Atreides unites with Shani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he must prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. Now look, the books and the 80s movie have been out for some time now, so most people kind of sort of know what happens if you read them, so we won't cover it here. I'll admit, I'm kind of a newcomer to Dune as well, and a lot of this I will get to watch for the first time. So to avoid any spoilers, we are going to stop here. The reviews so far have been pretty spectacular, so I can't wait this weekend to dive again into the world of Dune. Night out.
Desert power.
This is only the beginning.